Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, all. It's Bear here. And I'd like to welcome you to my YouTube channel, aboxwithnolid. A channel I'm creating not only to just bring awareness to the day-to-day realities and complications that trauma creates, but also I really want to start to get into the mechanisms, the mechanics of trauma, and to learn and discover ways and to teach ways to not just to heal, but to improve the quality of our lives on that path to healing. Because any of us know that live with trauma, the road is a long one to us becoming as well as we pray and hope that we can. And I want to try through these videos to impart what I've learned over many, many years living with trauma, complex trauma myself, but also advocating and being around it for a very long time in many, many different facets. Now in this video, I've done other videos where I've raised some things around anxiety. And it's one of the most common components associated with traumatic experiences. And in this video, I want to start again to go in a little bit more detail in just one aspect, with the hope that it can broaden your guys' understandings to empower you to make some difference in your own lives. Now, anxiety is an interesting little can of worms. And it is a can of worms because it's not one specific thing. It is not just a response. And in particularly Western medicine, it is not really understood in the majority of sectors until you get into the professors and the higher up. There's just this assumption that all anxiety types are the same, all anxiety responses are the same, and here you either do these breathing exercises, do a bit of yoga, grounding. If that doesn't work, take these pills. And that's pretty much it. And that's not where I come from. And to look at understanding the ecology, and anxiety is an ecology within our ecology. Anxiety is a way, the way you can look at anxiety is a question tied up in a memory, being played out repeatedly, trying to find the answer. Our body is going, am I under threat? Because I've had bad things happen in the past, and I'm trying to find a way to get away, stop, prevent, or not be under threat over and over and over again. Now, when we look at anxiety, the earlier your traumatic experiences, the tendency towards a stronger or a higher or more embedded anxiety response and a broader base for that anxiety response. It's not a rule, but in my experience and what I've seen in so many areas, those that go through early childhood trauma are more likely to have a higher level of a more simplistic but a stronger, more embedded anxiety response to day-to-day life. And the thing of it is we can very easily become powerless in trying to work with it because it doesn't make sense. The amount of times I've sat there at 3, 4 in the morning going, why? I was in a deep sleep. The dream was not that bad. Why am I sitting in an absolute terror state for the next 3, 4 hours trying to calm things down? It happened to me last night. It doesn't make sense until you understand its nature. Anxiety is unique. Your anxiety is unique to you. Yes, the response from a medical perspective is the same, the chemicals and body processes and all that stuff. But what set it off, your questions, what your body is asking is unique to your experiences. And some of those questions go to in utero. If your mother was under threat while she was carrying you, all her threat response hormones cross the placenta, prime your body to have a heightened threat response because you were being prepared to live in a less than friendly ecology, less than friendly world. And if you have that epigenetically through multi-generations, which we see in a lot of, what I don't like the term third world countries, the countries where bad things have happened for so long that poverty is prevalent, or in a lot of indigenous populations and so forth because of everything that's happened. Multi-generational trauma means your body will have this predisposition to a stronger response and will perceive more things in your world around you as a threat. And your body is always consciously and non-consciously looking for threats. So, but if you can start to understand the groupings of how your body responds with anxiety, to give an easy example for this for you guys to try to understand it better is, for me, one of the main pathways my anxiety goes is my esophagus. I choke, I aspirate, I get this weird kind of mucus. It goes into it affects sinuses, breathing. And my body, as far as it's thinking, is at any moment I'm not going to be able to breathe. I will suffocate and I will pass. That controlled so many facets. And in my younger childhood, I was thrown on asthma medications and all these things that didn't fix it. But when I learned to ask what was my body's question, and I looked back into what I could find out about being adopted was a little harder, but I found out that when I was born, I swallowed the microbiome, all the stuff that you're not supposed to. I pooped in the womb and I swallowed it. It had to be suctioned out the moment because I wasn't breathing. So there's all these things happened. There's tubes in the throat, suctioning the lungs out, cleaning everything stuff up. All these things happened that my body responded to in a heightened state because I was ripped from my mother and everything that happened around my removal. My body goes, that's what the world is going to do. So every time I get into or the world sets off a threat, that's the first place it goes because that was what was taught. That's the question that my body is trying to answer is that going to happen again? That's the question tied to the memory of, well, this is what happened to me then. This is what's happened to me when throughout my childhood it was reinforced with the so-called medical attempts to fix what was done so long before that. So that's the question tied up to a memory. It's played out repeatedly because there's not enough evidence for my body to go, well, that's never going to happen again. But now that I understand that, when it happens, I can ground and go, no, it is not, it is this. I bring myself in the present. I do all the things that I say here to you guys to bring myself back and to get it to pass as best I can. And that's what I hope through this channel is to empower you guys with the resources that work for you. A lot of our responses to our traumatic past will always be unique, and you need to understand what your body is looking for, what is triggering it, what is happening, so that you can find your own ways within your own surroundings to bring yourself back into this present moment. And as I said, I hope that if you're looking at anxiety in this framework, a question tied up with a memory being played out trying to find the answer may help you to explore, and you will have more than one question tied up to more than one memory. But you can start to group them, and it just helps you make, when you're in those states in the wee hours of the morning and having a rough one, having a bad time, you don't have to search for what's going to work. You go, no, what the symptomology is doing this. I know it's this. I do this. There are other times my responses are different, and I do different things to ground and bring me into that space. And these are the things that when you look at anxiety this way, and understand what it is your body sees as a threat and how you can, appease that and show your body that it's not currently here, the better you will teach your body the 2-camp titration, the gray areas that you need so that you don't have those really bad responses all the time. And that's basically how you work with anxiety. I'd love to be able to say that you can get anxiety to go away completely. I've not seen it in my experience, but I've seen people that have been highly debilitated become extremely functional and happy. It takes time and a lot of work, a lot of personal work to get there, but it is doable. Anxiety is a natural response to threat. Anxiety is not the enemy. The response is not the enemy. We need to teach our body that it has other options. And that's basically what I'm trying to say in a nutshell. We need to teach the body that there are other options, that we can do this in other ways. That's the gray areas. That's the titrating between the 2-camp thing. I will always do more videos on these sorts of things, especially like anxiety and the other threat responses, fear states and so forth, because there's so many ways of looking at them. And there are so many ways of working with them. And some different ways work better for different people. So as always, I love your guys' questions and feedback. I love your guys' comments. Please be mindful. Please always be respectful. And I'll see you all next time. Hope.